So I have a confession to make. I've not been as consistent as I would like to be making these YouTube videos, and I've had some consistency in the previous months, but I've been feeling less and less like doing these videos. And for the last 2 weeks, I was wrestling with whether or not to start a completely new channel about a completely new thing, different thing. And until today morning, that was what I was going to do. But then I paused, I sat down and asked myself why exactly I thought that things would be different with that new channel. Because it looked like it made all the sense for me to dump this for the sake of that. But I'm realizing that I wasn't really being honest with myself, because it wasn't it was more about running away from this thing that doesn't feel like it's progressing, that makes me feel like I'm stuck, more than it was about this new great idea that made all the sense in the world. And I remembered this article that I was reading last week with a very nice metaphor that related to this current situation that I'm in. And the guy was talking about how when you're in a plane and it's moving, it could be moving at 600 kilometers per hour, but you barely notice it because it's been moving at that constant speed for some time. The only time you notice anything is when there's a change, when the speed changes, or when the direction changes, or when there's more turbulence than there was previously. That's when you notice that there's something happening. And so that made me think about my situation and how I have been getting better at talking to the camera and avoiding the ums and ahs and ums. I'm not yet as good as I would like to be, but I'm noticing that I'm getting better at speaking without repeating myself and things like that. Are the videos getting any views? Not yet. And so it doesn't feel like I'm progressing. And that's why I want to run away from it. I want to dump this thing for the sake of the next thing. But when you're in a plane, you don't have that option. You have to sit there and not feel like you're moving, even though you know you are, but it doesn't feel like so. And before you know it, you've reached your destination, and then now you're like, okay, I have achieved what I set out to do. And so to bring that to this, it's you've decided to travel, you've picked a destination, and you've booked a ticket. And once you step into that plane, you don't get to leave until you get to your destination. Now, in between, you can barely feel like you're moving, you can barely feel like you're closing the distance between you and where you're going, but you are. And the only way it works is because you don't have the option of switching planes mid-air. You can't do that. But in real life, you can switch. You can move from one thing to another, to another, to another, because the current thing doesn't feel like it's progressing or it's getting you to where you want to go. And so because of that metaphor, I've decided to sit in this a little bit longer and maybe go through the whole year doing this same thing, even though it doesn't feel like I'm progressing, just to see where it goes and to see how much better at this I get, and to see if this can turn into something that gives me more reasons to keep doing it. And aside from deciding to stick with it for the long haul, to avoid my every instinct to quit it, I want to also encourage you to pick one thing and do it for an extended period of time as an experiment to see where it turns out, because you might know what you'll attain from doing it, but you also might not be able to comprehend the full extent of what you'll gain from it. And so try your best to sit in the discomfort, in the plateau, in the apparent lack of progress for as long as you can, and see where that takes you. See you on the next one. Bye.